Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. How are you today? May you always be healthy and full of blessings. Before starting, let's start by reciting a prayer. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala ali Sayyidina Muhammad. May this prayer be a way for us to get intercession from the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam on the Day of Judgment. Ameen. Hello Muslim friends, meet again with the Islamic Lantern channel. Before we continue, it would be nice if we support this channel by clicking the subscribe, like, comment, and share buttons. Come on, let's listen to the story. The history of the arrival of Islam in Korea and its development is interesting to know. Korea is a country located on the Korean Peninsula in Northeast Asia. This country was divided into two after World War II in 1945, namely the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, North Korea, and the Republic of Korea in the south, South Korea. Religious life in Korea is quite diverse, dominated by Buddhism, Christianity, Confucianism, traditional religions, and Islam being a minority religion. South Korea is dominated by Buddhism, Christianity, and traditional religions such as shamanism. However, residents who are not affiliated with any religion reach 46%. Meanwhile, North Korea has more atheists according to their communist ideology. However, there are still North Koreans who adhere to Buddhism and Christianity. It can be said that there are very few Korean citizens who are Muslim, making Islam one of the minority religions there. Korean Muslims are estimated to reach 100,000 to 200,000 people, most of whom are immigrants. The history of the introduction of Islam in Korea began with the outbreak of the Korean War on June 25, 1950. Zubair Kuk and Abdul Rahman, who took part in the Korean War as members of the Korean military service, began to introduce Islam. The Turkish UN troops were stationed in Korea, and during their service they built a Quonset hut, which was used as a mosque, a place to preach Islamic teachings to Korean citizens. This became the first step towards effective Islamic work in Korea. The early Muslim Brothers organized a Korean Muslim society. These Muslims elected the late Muhammad Umar Kim Jong-kyu as president. Later, Korean Muslim leaders were invited to visit Islamic countries, and several Korean Muslims were sent to Muslim colleges in Malaysia to be trained as future Islamic workers and leaders. Quoted from Islam Awareness, a Malaysian delegation led by the Deputy Minister Tunku Abdul Razak and his wife visited the location of the proposed mosque. Later, Muhammad Na, a Malaysian government official, saw the need to establish a permanent place to carry out dawah activities. With a Malaysian government donation of $33,000, he handed over the money to the Korean Muslim community to build a mosque in 1963. Unfortunately, the construction of the mosque could not be completed due to various reasons, one of which was inflation. It is not an easy task to create a base for dawah activities. There are many difficulties that must be endured and resolved. However, Muslims continued to try to promote Islam with full belief in God Almighty. They succeeded in changing Korean Islam of the Korean Islamic Foundation, which was approved by the Korean government and officially registered with the Ministry of Culture and Information with registration number 114 on March 13, 1967. The long dream of Korean Muslims finally came true. The construction of the Seoul Central Mosque was inaugurated in 1976. The existence of the Seoul Central Mosque and Islamic Center was a turning point in the history of Muslims in Korea. At the opening ceremony, 55 representatives from around 20 countries participated in glorifying the dream of Korean Muslims. The inauguration of the mosque came as a response to the increasing number of Muslim communities in Korea. The opening of the first Korean mosque contributed to the rapid development of Islam in Korea. According to a professor at the College of Humanities of Seoul National University, Shang, South Korea, is one of the rare countries where people without religion outnumber religious people. According to the latest survey, conducted by the Office of National Statistics in 2015, as many as 46% of Koreans identify as religious, while 54% do not. Ahmad, 47 years old, who runs the Islamic Book Center in Yongsan, Seoul, has rarely experienced hatred or discrimination because of his religion or religious clothing during his 20 years in South Korea. Even when he walks in religious attire with his wife who wears a hijab, most people just find it strange. However, they do not feel offended when he talks about his culture or religion. First of all, Korean people are not very interested because they are busy with their own work. Second, when they hear it, they mostly have empathy and kindness towards me, said Ahmad. Several more Muslims who study or work in South Korea say that Koreans are quite tolerant of other religions. People are rarely offended, angry, or hurt in everyday life because of discrimination against their belief. However, when looking closer, South Koreans, generally exposed to Christian-dominated American media and culture, still have a psychological bias towards Islam, which is widely followed in the Middle East. The most powerful images of Arabia and Islam for South Koreans are terrorism, war, conflict, and danger. This is based on a survey released by Professor Kim Swan from Arabic Interpretation and Translation at Hankook University of Foreign Studies. The survey was released in 2016, but the perception has not changed much for many South Koreans. Kim Jae-on, 30, who converted to Islam from Catholicism about 2 years ago, has never been verbally attacked because of his religion, but he is confused every time he sees malicious comments about Muslims online. When I told my parents that I had become Muslim, they were worried at first. They asked if I was involved with some terrorists, Kim said. But as he continued to talk about his religion openly on his YouTube channel, his parents started to understand him little by little. My friends also thought my religion was strange at first, but they didn't hate it or anything. I never really saw anyone hostile when I said I was Muslim, Kim said. However, what he saw online was different. On the internet, I see a lot of swear words and they say Islam is evil and a terrorist group. Honestly, I don't know why there is such a big difference between online and in person, said Kim. Meanwhile, several other Korean Muslims refused to be interviewed. They said they and their families had suffered from online hate comments following previous interviews with local media. As Muslims began to increase their presence in Korea, conflicts also began to emerge in the physical world. 2 Muslims, Imas Mahmood, 31, from Bangladesh, and Asadullah, 37, from Pakistan, are both postdoctoral researchers at KNU, Kyungpook National University, in Daegu. They also rarely face discrimination during their 7 years of living in Korea, but this year they faced conflict over the construction of their mosque in a residential area in Daegu. The mosque is used as a place where more than 100 Muslim students studying at Kyungpook National University pray, and it is now being expanded due to lack of space. We have been here 7 years. We bought this place in 2014 and started our worship in the existing building. We have a very good relationship with our neighbors, and on several occasions we have shared gifts, said Ola. Until February 5th, everything was going smoothly. When the iron pillars were installed, neighbors suddenly gathered in front of the mosque and started protesting, complaining about the noise and smell. He continued. Hundreds of residents near the mosque submitted a petition calling for a suspension of construction. Meanwhile, the regional office accepted the request and ordered construction to stop on February 16th. Now they just say that if we build a mosque, people in the entire region may become Muslim and property prices in the area may fall. Still, we found no valid reason behind this. Instead, we believe it's just part of Islamophobia, he said. Last month, a court temporarily suspended the order to halt mosque construction, and this again drew reactions from residents. We would like it if religious facilities, whether churches or mosques, did not come into the middle of residential areas, said the representative of the residents who opposed the development, CJ1. It's noisy and women are worried about going out at night. I received more than 1,000 signatures to oppose the construction, he continued. In early September, a petition entitled Protect South Korea was posted on the Cheongwadi website, where a petitioner demanded that the construction of the mosque be stopped. More than 120,000 people supported it. The author said that major Islamic powers seem to support the development with a strategy to convert Korea to Islam. They have become a threat to our residents, he said. Soon you will watch a special Ramadan broadcast program presented by us. When talking about South Korea, what comes to mind is certainly not far from K-pop, K-drama, advanced technology companies such as Samsung, and its extraordinary natural beauty. The Korean cultural wave, or Hallyu wave, has gone global, making the Korean entertainment industry one of the most influential in the global arena. In addition, South Korea is also known as a country with rapid technological progress, with cities such as Seoul and Busan filled with skyscrapers and modern transportation systems. Its natural beauty is no less interesting, from the beautiful green mountains and exotic beaches to the combination of traditional and modern architecture that creates a unique and charming city landscape. But behind its progress and modernity, there is an interesting story about how Islam has been part of Korean history for more than 1,000 years. Traces of Islam in Korea can be traced back to the 9th century, when Muslim traders from the Middle East and Central Asia arrived on the Korean peninsula via the Silk Road. However, Islam experienced difficult times, especially during the Joseon dynasty in the 14th century, which attempted to eradicate the existence of the religion in the Korean region. Islam only returned to develop in the 20th century. Now, the number of Muslims in South Korea is estimated to reach 400,000 people, some of whom are native Koreans who converted to Islam. If you want to know the full story, make sure to watch this video until the end. We will discuss the history of the entry of Islam into South Korea and how it developed in the modern era, which has experienced a rapid increase of more than 50% in just the last 3 years. Not only that, we will also take a closer look at the activities of Muslims in Korea during the month of Ramadan. So keep following the video. Long before Korea became a modern country like today, Islam was already present on this peninsula, bringing cultural and trade influences that enriched Korea's relations with the outside world. Historical records show that Islam was first introduced in the 9th century during the Silla dynasty era, when Korea began to establish trade relations with various nations through the Silk Road, a series of trade routes connecting Asia, the Middle East, and Europe. At that time, Muslim traders from the Middle East and Central Asia arrived in Korea carrying valuable commodities such as spices, silk cloth, jewelry, and other exotic goods. They came not only as traders but also as intermediaries of culture and religion. This interaction was not just an economic transaction, but also became the starting point for intellectual and social exchange between the Islamic world and Korea. Some of these traders chose to settle down and build small communities in various port cities that became trading centers, such as Gyeongju, the capital of Silla at that time. They adapted to local life, married the natives, and gradually introduced Islamic teachings to the local community. Their existence is also recorded in several historical documents, including notes from Muslim explorers such as Ibn Khordadbeh, a Muslim geographer from the 17th century, who mentioned the interaction between Muslims and the people of the Korean peninsula. In addition, several historians believe that these Muslim settlers came from Iraq and Persia, two regions that were then centers of Islamic science and civilization. Archaeological evidence shows the influence of Persian culture in several artifacts found in Korea, including statues of royal guards that have typical Middle Eastern characteristics. This indicates that the influence of Islam in Korea was not only limited to trade, but also appeared in art, culture, and the lifestyle of the local community. Although the Muslim community during the Silla period did not develop massively, these early traces became the foundation for a long relationship between Islam and Korea that continued until the next period, especially during the Goryeo dynasty from 918 to 1392, when interaction with the Islamic world increased. When the Goryeo dynasty came to power, relations with the Islamic world became closer. Muslim traders, especially from Persia and Central Asia, played an important role in international trade, making Korea part of the global trade network that connected the East and West. Historical records state that in the capital of Kaesong, there was a Muslim community that had a place of worship called Yegung, which means ceremonial hall. In addition, Muslims at that time were called Hui, a term also used to refer to Hui Muslims from China. However, major changes occurred when the Joseon dynasty was founded in 1392, replacing the Goryeo dynasty, which was more open to external influences. In contrast to its predecessor, the Joseon dynasty adopted Confucianism as the basis of state ideology and made it the main guideline in the government and social life of Korean society. When the Joseon dynasty adopted Confucianism as their state ideology, they began to suppress the existence of other religions that were considered contrary to the social order they had built. Religions originating from outside, including Buddhism, Islam, and other beliefs from the Middle East and Central Asia, were slowly pushed aside. Mosques that had stood during the Goryeo era no longer received support, and the Muslim community, which was previously quite active, began to merge with local society, leaving behind their traditions and turning to the more dominant Confucian ideology. As a result, Islam almost disappeared from Korean history for several centuries. Islam regained its place in Korea in the 20th century, especially after the Korean War, when South Korea received assistance from various countries. One of them was Turkey, which sent troops in a UN mission to help South Korea fight North Korea. Turkish troops known as the Turkish Brigade not only played a role in the battle, but also brought back Islamic teachings to Korea. The interaction between the Turkish army and Korean society revived interest in Islam. Some Koreans began to study Islamic teachings, and the Muslim community was formed again to support its development. In 1976, the Seoul Central Mosque was established in Itaewon, which until now has become the center of Islam in South Korea, even though Islam is not the majority religion in the country. Its development in the modern era shows that this religion continues to find its place in Korean society, which is increasingly open to cultural and religious diversity. The main factors contributing to the growth of Islam in Korea are the increasing number of migrant workers from Muslim countries such as Pakistan, Bangladesh, Indonesia, and Malaysia, as well as the growing number of Koreans who are interested in studying Islam until they finally decide to convert. In recent decades, the Muslim population in South Korea has experienced a significant increase. In 2002, the number of Muslims in Korea was estimated at only around 45,000 people. In 2020, that number jumped to 260,000 people, with 60,000 of them being native Korean citizens. The latest data for 2024 estimates that there are 400,000 Muslims in South Korea, of which 319,000 are foreigners. This means that in just 3 years, the Muslim population in South Korea has grown by more than 50%. Along with the increasing Muslim population, various supporting facilities are also developing. Currently, there are more than 60 mosques and prayer rooms spread across various major cities. Restaurants and halal-certified products are popping up, as well as Muslim communities that are active in introducing Islam to Korean society. This increase reflects how Islam is increasingly finding its place in South Korea, not only as a religion for immigrants, but also as part of the diversity of Korean society that continues to grow. Among the many converts in South Korea, there is one story that attracts attention, namely the spiritual journey of a beautiful girl named Ayana Moon. For those who often watch television, her figure may be familiar. Ayana is often invited to various television shows in Indonesia, and she is also fluent in Indonesian. "Oh, I want to get married in 2 years. The criteria are all the same. Handsome, rich, tall, smart, pious, right? But we always pray like that. But what we get is different. For now, Ayana, have you had a relationship with someone else? Or is there someone who approaches you?" "Maybe." No. As beautiful as Ayana, mashallah. It means Ayana Moon was born and raised in South Korea in a family environment that is open to various religious beliefs. Since childhood, she grew up with the understanding that every individual has the freedom to choose their spiritual path. But like most Koreans, Ayana initially did not have a strong attachment to a particular religion. Ayana's interest in Islam began when she began to delve into Middle Eastern culture at the age of 17. Her curiosity about the Islamic world grew along with her exploration of the history, culture, and traditions of Muslim countries. She began to study Islam more deeply, reading books and finding out about the teachings embraced by Muslims in various parts of the world. The more she understood the essence of Islam, the more she felt a peace she had never found before. Besides Ayana Jihamun, there are several South Korean women who also decided to embrace Islam and become converts. Their stories are not only inspiring, but also show how Islam began to be accepted in the land of ginseng. Their spiritual journeys have different backgrounds, ranging from an interest in the history of interactions with Muslim communities to Peng Yanggora Menmuahun. 200 books about the history of Dun were introduced to her. Finally, Muskin began to explore this religion with the help of her friend, Nayeon, who initially had no religion. While working at the Korean Muslim Federation, KMF, in 2008, she began to learn about Islam until finally deciding to embrace this religion after interacting with the Muslim community and studying its teachings more deeply. Another figure who is no less interesting is Muna Hunminbai, an illustrator and celebrity known for her artwork depicting women in hijab wearing traditional Korean hanbok clothing. Through her Instagram account, she combines her identity as a Muslim woman with Korean cultural heritage, providing a new perspective on religiosity and tolerance in her country. Their stories show that Islam can grow and be accepted in South Korea, even though it is not the majority religion. They not only embrace Islam as a personal belief, but also proudly share their experiences and identities through social media. This is an inspiration for many people that cultural and religious diversity can coexist harmoniously amidst modernity in South Korea. The month of Ramadan is a special moment for Muslim communities in various parts of the world, including in South Korea. In the midst of a relatively small Muslim population, the spirit of togetherness is still felt, especially in the Itaewon area where the Central Mosque stands, the only main mosque in the capital. Every weekend during Ramadan, this mosque becomes the center of religious activities, including holding iftar or breaking the fast together. This event is attended by Muslims from various countries, including from South Asia, the Middle East, to Southeast Asia. This diversity reflects the close solidarity of Muslims in a country where the majority of the population is not Muslim. Before breaking the fast, many congregants gather in the courtyard of the mosque. They can be seen queuing to get iftar packages that have been provided by various Islamic organizations and local Muslim communities. The food for breaking the fast is varied, ranging from dates, fruits, to typical dishes of each contributing country. One of the iftar activities also takes place at the halal restaurant Little India Seoul. This iftar event was initiated by the Indian Overseas Congress South Korea with the aim of strengthening brotherhood and spreading the message of peace and solidarity between religious communities. Not only attended by Muslims, this event is also open to the general public who want to experience breaking the fast together. After breaking the fast, the congregation continues the Maghrib prayer in the mosque. In the month of Ramadan, this mosque becomes increasingly crowded with Muslims who carry out Taraweeh prayers and various other religious activities. Although the Muslim community in South Korea is still a minority, the spirit of togetherness and tolerance is maintained. The iftar held in Seoul is not just a moment to break the fast, but also an event to strengthen brotherhood across cultures and countries. After Taraweeh prayers at Seoul Central Mosque, the atmosphere in Itaewon still feels lively for those who want to try typical Korean snacks. This is the right time to walk along the streets around the mosque. Many food vendors offer typical Korean street food that tempts the appetite. Among the rows of food stalls, the aroma of grilled squid with butter immediately attracts attention. Fresh squid grilled directly over hot coals has a chewy texture and a savory taste that becomes even richer with the addition of melted butter on top. The combination of the smoky aroma from the grill and the softness of the squid creates a tempting taste sensation. For those looking for sweet snacks, Korean hotdog can be the perfect choice. This pancake has a filling of brown sugar and peanuts that melts while still hot. The crispy exterior combined with the softness of the inside creates a bite that is rich in flavor and suitable for ending the culinary journey of the night with something sweet. Besides hotdog, another unique snack that must be tried is ten-won pang. This Korean ten-won coin-shaped bread has a soft texture like a pancake, with melted cheese filling inside. Exploring Itaewon after Taraweeh is not only about enjoying a variety of delicious dishes, but also about feeling the lively night atmosphere with the diversity of the international community around it. With a variety of appetizing street food choices, hunting for night snacks in Itaewon is an experience that should not be missed. That is the story of the life of Muslims in South Korea, from the history of the arrival of Islam to the atmosphere of Ramadan, which is full of meaning. The journey of Muslims in this country shows how beliefs and traditions are maintained, even though they live in an environment where the majority are not Muslim. This is the end of our video. If you enjoy Islamic content like this, don't forget to subscribe. See you in the next video.